Hey everyone, this is Chris from the Game Brew Podcast. Before we get to the show, I'd like to personally thank each and every one of you for listening. It means the world to us. If you'd like to support us, make sure you're following us on all the social medias that the kids talk about these days, like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can always listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever else you like to listen to your podcasts. We're pretty much everywhere. If you want to get a little crazy, we'd love to see some reviews from you on iTunes. Those really help out a lot. If you want to get your game on, which I know all of you do, go over and check out Humble Bundle using the link bit.ly/gamebrew. You'll be able to help out your favorite podcast, that's us, get some great games, and help out some really good causes. Well, that's enough from me. On with the show.
Hello and welcome to episode 58 of the Game Brew Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Ian Richard Rotz, and I'm here with Chris Allison Vander Wrights.
Hello!
Will Christopher Wrights Shell.
I have a pretty smooth voice, and I just pretty much know everything there is to know about computer hardware. Mm-hmm.
And Allison Dan Rotz Vander.
I can't do guy voices. I don't know what to do here.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Oh,
Nailed
boy.
it.
All right. Well, hey, welcome. And so today on the first half of the podcast, we're going to be talking about some of the really neat little games that we have been playing from our Humble Bundles. And in the second half, we'll talk about some of our favorite Humble Bundle. And we'll talk about some of our favorite small time developers. But first, it is time for a beer-based beverage. Chris, what are we drinking?
This week we're doing regional Micheladas. Micheladas. So they're like they're basically like a mixture of beer with some hot sauce, lime juice, salt or of some sort, like maybe like lime salt, pepper lime salt type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the recipe I looked at had some Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
For my regional take on it, I decided to use Natty Bo because,
Natty Bo.
oh boy, what a beer. Oh boy. And then also Old Bay instead of the salt.
Nice.
So
Because
for those
Maryland.
people, you've talked about this before, but for those people not like up in the Maryland area, Natty Bo, is it National Bohemian? Is that what it's called?
Yes,
Am
I
remembering that?
apologize. Thank you for pointing out. Yes, it's National Bohemian beer.
Okay.
It was a beer that used to be made in Baltimore. It's no longer made there, but it's primarily drunk, I think, in Maryland. And it's kind of just like a Baltimore icon.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of like a Bud Light type beer. It's good and cheap.
Good and cheap.
Cheap.
Good and
That's
cheap.
what I like.
Every place needs their own good and cheap beer. And for too many people, that's like
Bud Light.
PBR or
Yeah.
Bud Light or heaven forbid Keystone Light. It's awesome that there's like a Baltimore specific thing.
Will, what are you drinking there?
I got to be honest. I don't know what Molly put in this, but I can tell you what I taste. I can taste.
Okay.
There's definitely rum in here.
Okay.
And this is like, I think it's just like everything we had. And there's some blackberry. There's some fruit in here, which like really lightened it up.
Oh, that's nice.
But then there's definitely some liquor in here. I know there's rum in there. Whatever beer's in here, I don't know what she picked. There's several things in the fridge. I can't taste it, but it is delicious and fruity, and I am not ashamed.
That's great. That's great. That's a great
Well, I heard
choice.
the blender all of a sudden. I was like, "What the hell is she?"
is she doing?
She's like, "I'm making your game brew drink." I was like, "Well, what's in it?" She's like, "Don't worry about it." I was like,
Lots of
I'm a
stuff.
little worried about it.
Lots of
Molly's
things.
surprise.
it's like, okay, thank you.
And Allison, are you drinking a regional thing? You're drinking a regional tea, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I am. I'm drinking from the Loose Leaf Tea Co., which is in Boston, Virginia.
Boston, Virginia.
Ship it
Yeah,
out to Boston.
which is a
It's
place.
like Berlin,
guys.
Maryland. Hollywood, Maryland.
It's one that I can get here pretty easily because it's at grocers. But it's just a loose leaf tea with like dried fruit bits in it, and
Nice.
it's really, really yummy, and it gives me an excuse to use this awesome cup with a filter in it that Carrie got me. So that's always nice.
That's cool.
I feel fancy. Fancy.
So fancy.
Do you like it? Is it one that you like, or is it just kind of like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because it has like actual physical dried fruit in it, you actually get the fruity tones. Whereas I feel like in a lot of teas where it's all ground up and in the packs, I don't taste the fruit as much as I do with this one. So it's really good. And I also put some Singer's Glen, which is right around the corner from me, honey in it. So I've got some wildflower local honey too, so it's extra yummy.
Nice.
That's
very,
cool.
very regional.
For my locale, by the way, I didn't mention, clarify what all the shit in the fridge was. It's either more than likely she either put Yeehaw in here, which is a local brewery down in Johnson City, Tennessee. Or some stuff from Studio Brew, which is a local Bristol brewery right here.
Great.
So
I love
one
it.
of the two.
I love it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention how it tastes.
Is it good?
It's pretty good. I don't know if it's something that I would be like, yeah, you know what I'm gonna go do is make this, but like, it's very much like it could be a Bloody Mary replacement type drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally. Oh, and I'm doing one too. I have a Philadelphia regional Michelada, which basically it's made of stuff that you can get from your local drugstore first. So I've got it's got some Frank's Red Hot. It's got some V8 in there. It's got some ground pepper that from the pepper shaker that I just put right in it. And also lining the rim, I do have a Philadelphia cheesesteak. So I think that really makes it
That's awesome.
pretty good for it.
Are you gonna dip it in there?
Oh, I could do that.
Find a recipe,
and I'm
or
using-
did you just bullshit this?
I just made this one up. And it's
Okay.
also got Yuengling, the beer of champions, in there. Yuengling Lager, the only beer where you just say lager and they just throw Yuenglings at you.
All right.
Let's do some dippies. Let's dip it.
He's really dipping his cheesesteak in his
There we go.
V8.
It's in there. He's
concoction.
dabbing it.
It's dripping. It's like a
I bet
au jus.
I bet
not.
that could be pretty good, actually.
It could, but I
Or
don't
terrible.
know if it will.
It's pretty good, right?
That's pretty fucking delicious, you guys.
It kind of makes me queasy.
You heard it here
Ugh.
first, folks.
Man, no, I
Cheesesteak,
wish I
ginger,
had.
pickle.
I wish I had put like a crab claw to stir it with.
All right. Okay.
All right, let's get this party started.
Yeah, let me finish eating this cheesesteak real quick. Hold on.
Dan, I like your new headphones, by the way, while you chew.
Well, thank you. These are not new, but thank you.
Well,
A
they're
year
very
and a half
clean.
ago. Thank you.
They're very
I do my
clean.
best. I'm in a very clean environment right now. So this week, instead of the what we've been playing section, we're going to kind of segue right into what we're talking about in the first section, because what we've been doing is we've been playing some of the smaller games from our Humble Bundles. We've talked about Humble Bundle a lot, because Humble Bundle, you sign up for Humble Bundle monthly, and then in that they give you not free games, but you pay like $15 a month and
12.
you get
12.
$12 a month. Sorry, excuse me. Pay $12 a month, and then you get access to usually like one big title game and then like 7 or 8 other smaller tier games from either smaller developers or things that have been out for a while. And so we decided that we would go back through and kind of pick up some of the ones that we didn't really play from the Humble Bundles in the past or the most recent ones, and then see how they were. So first, let's talk about some of the games that we played. I'm first going to go to Christopher.
That's me.
That's you. So what'd you play, bud?
Yeah, so the first game I picked up because I'd heard a little bit about it, and I kind of liked what I saw as far as the pictures and some of the videos. It's called Northgard. It's a Norse-themed RTS, and what's a little different about it than your average RTS is that it's more focused around resource management and less about combat. There is combat in it, but you spend most of your time dealing with resources and making sure that during different seasons that you go through, when you get to the winter months, that you're not going to run out of food or run out of wood for your fires to keep going to make sure that people stay warm. So it's a little different than your average RTS. But I played a couple of the missions, and I kind of want to give it a little more time, but it didn't really grab me off the start. So I think it looks cool, and I like the art style, but it didn't grab me. So I went back to the drawing board and played Sundered. So Sundered is pretty interesting. It's a Metroidvania, so lots of platforming and combat. What's interesting about this game is that it's all of the animation is hand drawn. So your character that you play as in the game is hand drawn. All the enemies are hand drawn, a la Dragon's Lair. I think was one of like the first big hand drawn video games. And it does a lot of really cool things. It has like kind of the Final Fantasy X-esque skill tree, as well as dynamic hordes that sometimes come after you, instead of like you kind of just going around and kind of, when you know the areas that you're in, going around, sometimes you'll just have hordes attack you and just bum rush you, and it gets pretty hectic sometimes, which kind of can be a good or bad, like that's a good or bad feature for some people. I think it's another game that I want to spend some more time with. I think I'm about halfway through it with 6 hours. I think it's only like a 12-hour game. Okay. But so far it's been pretty good. I'm just taking a little bit of a step back from it and playing some other things too.
Okay, nice, cool. Those are great. Those are great little games. We'll talk a little bit more about those later too. Allison, did you play anything?
Yeah, I'm still not 100% sure how to pronounce this, so I'm gonna go with the English. It's Ame no Marginal, I think, but I don't know how to say that second word. But it's Rain Marginal is what it translates to, I guess. Okay. So I kind of played 2 visual novels, and I didn't get through the one, Narcissu, because I got this Humble Bundle pack of visual novel games, and I've kind of just not had time to do them. So this gave me an excuse to kind of go back into them, and I played one called Narcissu, and it was overwhelmingly sad.
Oh no.
Like, if I knew what this visual novel was about, I would have never even touched it, because it was just it's like about it's a dating simulator basically with someone who has a terminal illness. And it's like you escaping together and living your last days the way you want to. And it's like overwhelmingly sad. But what I will say is it's beautifully done. It's well written. The music, like I am going to put this whole playlist on a Spotify and just play it consistently. So it's a really well done game. I do suggest it with the suggestion that you play it in the mindset that this is already going to be sad. So you're not ready for your happy visual novel like I was. And then we're absolutely beaten to a pulp with the storyline. Gorgeously done. Definitely suggest that one. But with it, I played this little one. Because I think Narcissu is a more popular one, so I didn't want to make that my main. And it was Ame no Marginal, which came with it, and it's a very, very short one. So it didn't last long, but it was really beautifully art styled, I guess, is the best way to put it. Because normally in visual novels you have your sprite that's in front, and then the background will change, but the sprite is always just like one of the few sprites. It's like it's smiling
the same
sprite.
Guy, like,
yeah, smiling sprite. He looks studious with his book here because he's the smart, studious guy. But there's only one character. There's only one ending. I tried to play it again and got the same thing, even kind of branching off with different choices. It ended the same way. So I'm fairly certain there's only one ending. But it was a really good story. Again, very melancholy. I guess that was the theme of the Humble Bundle I got and didn't realize it.
Just really sad stuff.
Really sad. Like the world you're in is always raining, which sets the sad tone for the whole thing. But it was it was gorgeous. The sprites are actually drawn into the picture, so each change of a scene changes like the entire picture, which I know that seems really silly, but in a visual novel where that's not the norm because it's not easy, it's actually really nice to see the art for every scene being taken so seriously with the character glued into it rather than just superimposed on top of it. They had to really think about the whole scene and the character in the scene, and it made it more like a book I was reading, which was kind of cool. But definitely both very sad, but both good picks. And I know nobody was going to do visual novels, so I was pretty safe picking these.
I mean, were they?
Sorry. No, you go, Chris.
I'll go. You mentioned that you were kind of hoping for, I guess, like a more happy visual novel experience. Were these just so good that you felt that you had to finish them?
Well, Narcissu I did not finish. I could not bring myself to go farther in the story. Although like I said, the music I loved. I wish I would have kept going so I could hear more of it, which is why I definitely want to get the songs from it. And visually it was gorgeous and the story is really good, but I was just not in a mindset to deal with that plot right now.
It's probably really hard
heavy.
Pretty hard to read all that text through all the tears. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty heavy.
How are visual novels for like busy people? Because one of the frustrations I've had for like the past year of my life is I'm too busy to play any story games that I really, really, really want to play. Like, can you pick them up and put them down, or do you need to dedicate like a while at once?
Yeah, I think there's something you can pick up and put down. The reason I love visual novels and the reason I love like Telltale-esque games like Life is Strange and things like that, which was also a Humble Bundle game, but a popular one. The reason I like those is they're like reading a book, but I get more out of it than I even do. I love reading a book because I get to create my own environment, but there's something about a game that's also providing that environment directly to me. And I play the games the same way I read those books, where if I'm really interested, I'm going to pound through this pretty fast. And I'm going to sit there and absolutely crush my pigeon dating simulator I got into there for a minute because it was just like, this is so extra. I need to do it. Hatoful boyfriend, yes. But with Narcissu, because it was like so intense emotionally, like I'm going to pick it up and put it down in slow bits and I'd like to finish it, but I'm not going to be able to like do it in one sitting. This other game I played, the Rain Marginal, it definitely was one where it was so fast and it was over. I wasn't really expecting it necessarily. So it kind of ended a lot quicker than I would have thought, but that was like a short story where I could do it in one evening. So yeah, it really is one of those things with visual novels where picking them up and putting them down isn't a big deal because the characters are going to be sitting there for me, you know?
Nice. And you did finish that one, right?
I did finish that one.
All right, so here's the sound.
Woo!
Yeah, because you finished a game. Hey. No, I played one. I played one of the games from the Humble Bundle. I think this was from the most recent one. It was called Paratopic. It was supposed to be a scary game. I was not a huge fan of it. I love scary games, but this one was it was kind of weird and almost a little bit weird for the sake of being weird. But basically, it's hard to tell what the plot is. But a lot of the time you spend in the game is either doing button press conversation things, or the majority of the time was just driving a car down a single lane highway that had almost no turns on it. So
did it like have you driving? Like, did you have to control it within a lane, or was it kind of just like you press a button and it goes down the highway?
You could move it left and right, but really there wasn't a whole lot of reason to, because there's nothing to avoid.
So it's like riding those cars at like Disney World, where you have the track within the middle and you can't really get off the bumpers.
You're like, oh, it's really fun. And it's like, there would be radio stuff going on in the background, but you couldn't really understand what was happening on the radio. Like some things would change in your right seat, and I guess that's supposed to be alarming, but it happened it was such a long part of the game that it was not great. And then there's like other sections where you'd be like walking through the woods, and it would be very slow, and it was made with this like shader that makes it look like a PlayStation 2 game, or a PlayStation 1 game rather, kind of like a GoldenEye, where everything has that kind of boxy look of everything. So there was one point that kind of jump scared me, but other than that, I wasn't impressed with it. Apparently, there are different endings to it, so I might have to play it through again. I kind of don't want to, though, because it was very boring.
Don't do it.
So
Don't
that's
do it.
interesting. So do you think you would have liked the game more if it was more graphically modern? Do you think it took away that you were playing a game that was intended to look dated at all? Or do you feel like that really didn't have an effect on how you felt about the game?
It really didn't have an effect on how because I usually like games like that. There's the games like The Return of the Obra Dinn, if you've ever played that. That has a kind of weird, like old visual style. And a few of the other ones, what's it called? They did like the Doom-esque games where they're kind of like shooters, but they have that old looking UI style is kind of interesting, but not really. It was more the fact that the gameplay was fairly boring and the story that was there wasn't easy or to understand or wasn't put forward in a way that I could understand it and make it still fun as a game.
So follow-up question. Sorry, I'm now looking at this game because I've never heard of it. And it looks like it's won a lot of awards.
Has it?
Yeah, this year and last year, including an excellence in audio and a best video game soundtrack. A couple of those. Do you feel like the audio and soundtrack were great?
I mean, the soundtrack was kind of interesting. The audio was good for what it was, but I don't know. I have a hard time seeing it as a good game just because it was, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me.
No, I get that.
Something about it. It's okay if it won a bunch of awards and stuff like that, but I just didn't enjoy it whenever I was playing it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was definitely weird horror, and I like weird horror, but not that much. The other one, I also played something called Wizard of Legend that we got in the Humble Bundles a few months ago, which is a roguelike, but it's kind of like a beat 'em up combo maker, but you're a wizard, so you get a whole bunch of different spells, you get different items that you can do, and you have to go through different levels of this like wizard trial to try and beat stuff. It's that I love the music for. It's like whenever you're in the dungeon-esque areas, it's really intense. And it's definitely frantic. Chris was listening to me play it yesterday and be like, man, you're clicking buttons real fast. I was like, yeah, you got to. That's how you got to do because you can't hold down buttons and do combos. You got to press them over and over again for it to happen. But that's really fun. I love roguelikes. You know me. So roguelikes and scary games. That's basically my dating profile for video games.
I approve.
But it was good.
Roguelikes.
Yeah, I do. But that was more like the 2D, sprite kind of stuff. Really great. I would recommend it. It does have a co-op mode. It's split screen co-op you can play. So if you have a roommate or a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a little brother or an older sister, you can. Or
if you have another human in your life,
or a genetically engineered dog of some kind,
with
you
thumbs.
could also do that too. Yes, dogs with thumbs. That goes. It's back to
Dogs
the.
with thumbs. That sounds like a really good podcast and/or book name. Dogs with thumbs.
Or that'd be a good band name too. We could
Good
put that
band
on
name.
the
Dogs
band
with
name
thumbs.
stuff. But yeah, those were the two that I played. Will, what did you play there?
Well, I'm not currently subscribed to
that's
the
right.
bundle where, for the folks who know me personally, they know I'm getting my master's degree while working and doing an internship stuff. Master! Which is where I've been for the past few weeks. It's just been so busy. But one of the games that made the biggest impact on me that I just really enjoyed from the Humble Bundle was Momodora. Was it Reverie Under the Moonlight? Or something?
Yes.
Momodora is the main title. That's the game that taught me that things that I don't think are going to be good might be good. Before that game, I was not at all interested in side scroller, 2D games, and because I'm very story, driven. And it was in Humble Bundle. I was like, oh, what the hell? Let's play it. It looks like ninjas, and let's try it out.
Love ninjas.
And it was really, really cool. There was a story there. There were some neat elements there, and I think that speaks to the cool thing, like for those people who want to spend the money, that Humble Bundle is. If you've got that $12 of disposable income, I mean, I would never have played that and opened myself up to that genre. And now I play some other games, mainly on my phone, that are some 2D side-scrolling games, because that opened me up to that, and that was really cool. It made a good impact on me.
And Will, I have a follow-up question for you for that, and for everybody after that. But I want to start with you. So, what do you think it is that stops you from like playing small games like that, like games from independent developers, games that may or may not have like this huge, I don't know that it's smaller
games. I'm not, unlike you guys, I don't. You guys are so good at like keeping up with developers, and you're like, this developer did this, and I just don't store that knowledge, and I don't think that way. I mainly just look at a game, and I sort of judge a book by its cover, and I realize it's not a good thing to do. But with games, you can kind of sort of do that. Like if you don't like first-person shooters, and you see a picture of it, and it's first-person shooter, you're going to go on through that a little bit.
You're going to have a bad time.
But so I don't think it's a developer thing. I think it's a me not branching out very much thing. But because the game was, quote unquote free, like it was included, I just had it. It's like, well, let's try it. So I got some value from that, and I really liked that. So if people want to like buy me a bunch of games that you don't think I'll like, I'll try them. And if I don't like them, I'll still tell you.
That's it.
But if
I'm buying you visual novels and forcing you to play the weirdest ones.
Okay, good. I'll do it. All I have right now is an internship and vacation coming up. So nice. I got a little time to spare.
Nice.
So generally, I feel like with Humble Bundle, we come for the big games that we get each month, but these extra other things are kind of a nice add-on. Do you guys think that there was value in kind of trying to do this almost exercise? I think through some of our stuff.
I mean, I definitely think so, personally, because, I mean, you and me, Chris, we found one game that we didn't really talk about, but it's called Moon Hunters.
Yeah.
That whenever we looked at it, Chris was like, oh, it's only got like an hour and a half of playthrough time. We could probably bang through that real quick and then, keep going on to something else. But we started playing it, and like the music was really good. The combat system in it, because it's like a top-down, like group exploration, and
it required teamwork.
Yeah, it requires teamwork, and also it has this aspect of relationship building in the game, which is kind of interesting for something that small. And it has the ability for you to do multiple playthroughs. But it was something that we were just like, oh, well, this is multiple players. We could probably do this one and do that on the podcast. But then we ended up really liking it, and we want like Will and Allison to come play it too, because you can do it with 4 people, and it's like super neat. It's really cool. Liked it.
And like each playthrough is going to be different depending on who's there, like what different characters are there, and what decisions you make and where you go. And so
you can start in different places as well. So
I think for me in Humble Bundle, I kind of deal with it differently than I think most do. Like I don't have it always subbed. I really don't. I sub on it when there's something interesting for me, but it's rarely the big game that's interesting for me. I'm always looking at the whole bundle, and if I like more than one thing, then it's worth it to me a lot of the time, rather than just maybe the one big game that I've heard's good and should maybe get. Yeah, that happens every once in a while if it's something I actually want to play, but I usually look at Humble Bundle as, do they have multiple games that I would want to try? But wouldn't buy otherwise, is a lot of it. So that's why like I played from that visual novel set, because the visual novel ones, I'm like, I love visual novels. I want to try them all. But like I'm not necessarily going to buy each of these individually, but now I have an excuse to play them.
Interesting. That kind of harkens back to Dan's question, whoever asked me that a minute ago about looking at the smaller, looking at why I don't play games from smaller developers. I fall like probably smack in the middle of their desired like target marketing. It is that big game that's like the hook for me. It's like, oh, well, this new game, like if I go to a Best Buy, it's going to cost me $60. Or I can get it through Humble and save some money and get all this other stuff that I may or may not care about. So I look at like the big hook.
Yeah, and for me, I love supporting the little gamers, and I love that they're on these Humble bundles, and I love that, a portion of it is going to these great things as well. Like it's kind of the whole package for me with Humble when I agree to grab something, I guess. So yeah, I don't know.
And also the fact that you do give, like, money goes to charity. Whenever you are giving money, a portion of it does go to charities as well. So you're not, great. That's why it's called Humble Bundle. It's not just, here's a bunch of games for less money. It's here's a bunch of games for less money. Also, some of it's going to help other people, which is a big point of that too. And if you do want to, get in on the Humble Bundle, like the Humble Monthly, I subscribe to Humble Monthly every month because I always like to look to see if there's new stuff or old stuff that's in there that I might think about. Like Dead Cells was in there a couple weeks ago, and I already have that. So if anybody wants it, hit me up. You can have it. But the fact that it gives you games to play every month if you're on a limited budget, like I am sometimes, or the fact that it just gives money to something that's not just developers. It does give it to them, but it gives it to somebody who is in need as well, which is kind of nice. If you want to help us by doing like the Humble Bundle stuff, because if you're not signed up, it's definitely a cool thing. You can actually go to bit.ly/gamebrew. That's bit.ly/gamebrew, all one word. And then that'll sign you up for the Humble Bundle under our stuff. So we get a little slice of that too, which is kind of nice. If you want to help support us too, as well as some charities and get some cool games. So I think that's it for the first half, unless anyone has anything pressing.
I was trying to think of something clever. I've got nothing.
Okay. Allison is not clever.
I just got the Holiday Inn Express
it's
bit.
so true.
All right. Well, then we'll be right back with what's the second half? We'll be right back with the smaller boys in game development and see what they're up to these days. So stick with us, but we'll be right back. And welcome back to the... Wait a minute. Well, that's not what he says. Welcome back to the Game Brew Podcast. We're just, sitting here drinking some regional Micheladas. How's it hanging with everybody? How's it sitting there?
Pretty good.
I'm enjoying the spiciness on the back.
I didn't say this earlier, but my brother enlightened me to just spicy beers. As a hangover cure, like 3 years ago.
We talked about spicy beers recently.
I think
not recently, but like we have on the podcast.
But we have,
yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's very interesting because every once in a while, it just feels good to have a real spicy beer. Just get like a Miller Lite or something and put some Tabasco sauce in there. Or
it sits nice on the back of your throat.
Mm-hmm. Settles your tummy a little bit too.
Kind of in a very strange way. Yes.
Like, I feel good. Like, my belly feels good.
They can go really wrong, though. I got a bad batch of something called TIE Fighter one time with my buddy Joey.
Well, that sounds awesome.
And, oh, no. It took us an hour and a half to drink one beer. We made it through it. And then found out later, it's like, oh, yeah, this was a bad batch. We didn't know what we were doing. It was our first spicy beer at a local brewery. We're sorry. Like, I broke a sweat drinking this thing. It was insane. Anyways, I'm sorry. Please proceed.
Well, no, but there are some that are like that. I think, who was it? Flying Dog. Flying Dog last summer or 2 summers ago had a pack that they had that was all spicy beers. So it was like habanero. There was some that had scorpion peppers in it. There were some that were brewed with... actually, that one was really good.
That sounds like something they would do.
Yeah, but it was really delicious. Some of them were like super delicious. Like they were just yummy and had that sort of flavor that that spicy things have without being too aggressive. But there was one that was made with ghost peppers. That one was too much.
It's too much.
Much too much. Great. All right. Well then, hey, let's move on to the second half. So for topic 2, we're going to talk about some smaller game developers and just what? Because there's somebody like waving at my window. Just give me a second, okay?
What? We're in the middle of the podcast.
Dude.
Well, I mean, if somebody was outside your window, you'd probably figure it out. Oh. I
What?
feel
That didn't
like
sound
Dan
good.
needs
What
a
happened?
security
I
system.
think that was big enough of a rock to hit him with.
Oh, no.
Hello, everyone! It's me!
It's you.
This
The
guy.
mandatory fun commissioner!
yay.
How are you, everybody?
Better now.
Oh, it's good to see you. Allison, hello, always a pleasure.
Hi.
Unless you don't want it to be a pleasure, in which case that also happens. But anyway, Christopher, I was here some episodes ago. You were not here.
I wasn't here. Oh, yeah, I wasn't.
You were gone. And so was William. No one was here except for Allison and Ian. And Dan,
now
but he
Ian's
was
not
on
here.
I was having
not.
I was having fun, but not like
not
mandatory
the mandatory
fun.
fun. Yeah, you
You
chose
didn't have anyone
have-
to enforce the
yeah.
mandatory.
It was just
Exactly,
it just
yes.
happened
And
to be having fun.
To be fair, the fun which is not mandatory is never as good. In my opinion.
Yeah.
That my personal opinion, but that's why I'm
can
the
agree.
commissioner now.
Who was the commissioner before you?
I actually don't remember. I think his name was Sven. He was from some sort of
Reykjavik, maybe?
I don't remember. I think he was from a place in Mexico. But yes, he was Mexican Sven, I think is what they called him. I don't remember. But yes, but he was who we referred to him as the the commissioner of mandatory funds, so the CMF. He was different. We changed a few things around when I took over. So, but yeah, but I'm here now. So hey, let me ask you a question,
Welcome.
everybody. Would you like to have some mandatory fun?
Yes.
Yeah. I could go for some mandatory fun.
I am always in for mandatory fun.
I feel
Actually,
like
no.
having
Actually,
fun.
I've decided I don't want to have fun.
Oh, you know what, Chris?
Whoa.
Too bad. It's mandatory. Everybody must have it. So
Is he
Okay.
new here?
what?
I guess since I wasn't here last time, I forgot.
Yeah, it's you owe me a mandatory fund, you and William. So this doesn't count as your most recent one. I will not punch your punch card for this one. But anyway, so I have I think I overheard through the window before I knocked Daniel unconscious that you were going to talk about small game developers.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
you want
that
to
was
talk
the
about that?
plan.
That sounds pretty fun, right?
Well, I mean, sometimes I've heard you guys talk about video games before, and you're always like, oh, I would do this, or I would do that. So I decided that I would make a game called, well, you fucking do it then. Where I will, yes, it's very
Seems
angry.
aggressive.
It is. But the way this game works is I'm going to make you be the game developers, and I am the... what's it called? The production company. So I'm, Mr. EA sitting in the elevator with my fancy suit and all of your microtransaction dollars.
Well, it makes sense that you beat people over the head unconscious if you're EA. This all makes sense now.
Very
Yep.
true. Very
Yep,
true.
yep.
So what we're going to do is you're going to get 3 random things. The first thing is a type of video game. The second thing is a random noun, most of which were given to me through the Discord, because people submitted a bunch of things Daniel asked for on the Discord.
I didn't know you had a Discord channel or were invited to our Discord channel.
I'm invisible on the ones that you all have, so you can't see me, but I'm there.
Oh, good.
Und,
You're like Santa.
So yeah, there's 2. So basically, what you'll have to do is each thing will have a type of video game, and then 2 nouns which are required to be incorporated in the game. Otherwise, you have free reign to do it. But you must pitch it to me, and whoever I think has the best game idea, they will get a mandatory fun point. Here's the sound for that. All right, great. So, are you ready to pitch me some mandatory fun games?
I'm so ready.
Yes.
Yes, here we go. I don't care if you're ready or not. I forgot about that part. So here we go. All right. So spinning the wheel. It's not really a wheel, but imagine that there is a wheel that I'm spinning with a bunch of different things on it. Okay. So here we go. So this is going to be a tower defense game involving the Dead Sea Scrolls and Paul Bunyan and his ox Babe.
Oh my, what?
So So whoever has one first, just jump right in.
Paul Bunyan, the Dead Sea Scrolls. What are the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Again, I did not select these nouns. They were given to me.
Dead Sea Scrolls.
You are Paul Bunyan and his ox babe.
Okay.
And you are being attacked by vicious trees.
Oh no.
Because you were with all the trees you've cut down, that's how they made the Dead Sea Scrolls. So they're coming after you now. They're like Ents. And you have to defend Paul Bunyan and his blue ox babe from these attacking trees.
Okay.
Sorry. That's not my best.
So I'm gonna stick with your Paul Bunyan. That seems good. But you put your ox babe down as towers, and babe attacks everyone coming for you because it's a religious war over these Dead Sea Scrolls that they want to take from you because they don't want them to exist. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. I like that one is interesting.
So you're Paul Bunyan and you're out of trees because you keep chopping them down and you don't have self-control. And both yourself and your ox are thirsty. So you're searching for the Dead Sea Scrolls so that you can hopefully find a magical incantation within them to make it rain so that you can both have something to drink and the trees will grow back and you'll have something to do again because you're fucking bored because you chopped down all the trees and you just self-destructed in your own hobby.
But how is it?
That's okay. Oh, pitch is over. Ding! Elevator door opens. Okay, I'm going to go with Allison. You get the points for that one.
I don't deserve them, but I will take them.
I'm sorry, Chris. It was good. It was very basic.
No, it wasn't good.
It wasn't good at all. You're right.
But I went first.
That's true. And Will, that was not a tower defense
not
game.
tower defense.
It was not.
I forgot that part.
So, Allison, you basically win by default. I mean, that's kind of what happens.
I'll take it.
All right. Okay, that was round one.
That was painful.
How many rounds are there?
I don't know. How long we have? 20 minutes. Here we go. All right. So here we go. Let's try this again. Maybe this one will be a little bit kinder to you all. Yes? Probably. All right. Here we go.
I hope so.
Doubt it.
Rolling the wheel, spinning the wheel. If there's a sound.
The metaphorical wheel.
Yes, the wheel is turning. All right. Here we go. Okay. So this is a sports game.
Ugh.
Sports. Involving that one really cute bartender and Flavor Town.
Okay. So this is a sports game where you are against Guy Fieri. He's the opposing team, and his team. You're both captains, and his team is full of Flavortown residents, and they are all animated food. So they're like burgers with faces and stuff. Okay, so that's what you're up against, and you are both vying for the affection of the cute bartender. So whoever wins this game gets her heart at the end and gets to go on a date with her.
Okay.
So you have to make the most flavorful and delicious drinks against all the other patrons of the bar to win the attention of the cute bartender. And the cute bartender happens to be the judge of the competition. And much like the Mortal Kombat fighting tiers, you have to make your way all the way up through and then beat the four-armed drink maker.
Okay, I'm going to reiterate. There is a game type called sports that are involved.
Well, it's a competition. Making drinks. It's a competition.
Okay. So athletic. Okay, I got it. Athletic sport.
You have to make the drinks the fastest and blindfolded.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So it's a kind of riffing off a little bit of what Allison said. It's the Flavortown Guy Fieri's, that's the mascot is Guy Fieri's face, is the top of the football, the food football league, or no, the restaurant league teams, and you are just the cute guy. You playing as the cute guy bartender. That one cute guy bartender.
Yeah, just that
and you
one.
have to go up and you're going against Guy Fieri for having the best restaurant, and you have different. It's football, but it's not. It's like Blood Bowl kind of. Has anyone played Blood Bowl?
Yes.
It's like Blood Bowl, and like you have salt and pepper shakers as linemen, and different drinks are different skilled like wide receivers and stuff. But you're always the cute bartender who's the quarterback. And Guy Fieri is the quarterback for Flavortown.
Okay.
Can I add to mine? I decided.
No.
No, I'm sorry. Your pitch is over. Your pitch is over. However, hold on. I do want to ask. You know what? I've got a bit of because I'm at a bit of an impasse. Allison, what is the title of your game?
I haven't thought of a title. I didn't know. I'm so pressured.
I have a title
Chris,
for
do
my-
you have a title?
I have a title
Chris,
for my
Chris,
game.
to me
what is
last.
the title of your game, Chris?
One-way ticket to Flavortown.
Beautiful.
Mine's
William?
Flava, Flava, Suds. Flavor Suds.
Flavor
Just drinks.
Suds.
Flavor
Okay.
Suds.
All right. There's like an evil Guy Fieri in the background of the picture. With just
I think
like
there's an
flames.
evil Guy Fieri in the background of
all
all
of
of our
them.
games.
All right, Allison.
Guy Fieri's food fight? That's
I feel like that might already be a game.
Is that a game?
I don't
Maybe
know,
it is.
but we're going to look it up. Hold on.
No, I've changed it then. Okay, diners, drive-ins, and dates. That's what it is.
Ooh, I like that one. I like
had
that
time.
one. You know what? But I'm still going to go with Christopher. Christopher, I think your game was the best, with a bit of idea poaching from Allison. So,
But I was gonna have at the end when you get the date with the bartender lady, she rips off her face and underneath it's Guy Fieri.
that's terrifying.
That would have been the best.
I said this game was.
But how did she stuff all the weight in her face?
Matt,
She just
don't
takes
ask
it
me
off.
questions. It's my game.
See, but I said it was sports, not horror. So that's
Or
different.
a dating simulator.
Or a dating simulator. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, let's pick another. Let's do another one. Let's pitch another game. Here we go. All right. Dude. Spinning the wheel. Okay. So here we go. This
Okay.
this one is interesting. Okay, the type of game is a visual novel.
Mm-hmm.
And the two nouns are hipsters and the idea of window panes.
Can you say all that again? Visual novel.
Hipsters, you know, like with suspenders and beanies and thick rim glasses. And the idea of window panes. Not window panes, just the idea of them.
Like a window pane, like literally like a pane of a window.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a visual novel, and basically for the first 8 hours, you just see a bunch of guys that are dressed in clothes they probably bought at Goodwill, and are pretty hairy. They got pretty long beards and long hair. They're sipping tea, but it's organic tea.
Of course.
And they're just staring there. So for the first 8 hours, you're just seeing these two guys looking at outside of what appears to be a window, but you can tell that there's no glass. So there's like birds and stuff coming in every so often. And they're just kind of looking at it for 8 hours. That's the first 8 hours of the game. and so they're just kind of thinking about it, and then one of them just says, "What is pain?" And then it continues for another 8 hours. Same thing. And then the other one says, "What is a window?" And that's it.
Okay.
I feel like your hipsters are it's like
it's an art
they're
piece.
like towing the pothead line.
It's an
They're
art
like
piece.
right there.
They're right there.
Okay, I'll try. So the beginning of the visual novel is you meeting all of these basic hipster stereotype girls. Just there's about 7 of them. They all have their thing. One of them's a poet. One of them is a musician with the big thick horn-rimmed glasses. You know, those basic types.
Is one really into reusable stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
She's
great.
She's all about saving the planet and only saving the planet. Nothing else matters.
Man,
So you
I didn't know. I didn't
You
know
got
that was
your
hipster.
types, isn't it? I don't know. What's a hipster? Okay, so that's that you have those, and your character is too shy to talk to them, but he's a little creepy, so he imagines just watching them through windows, and that's how he decides which one he's going to pursue, and. He finally gets up the courage to talk to them, and eventually, you know, they go on dates. And at the end, the final character is actually a window that comes just a window pane with windows in it, just a window, and she comes out of nowhere, and you decide that's clearly the only girl for you because you were never actually thinking about the girls through the window. The whole time you were fantasizing, it was really about the window pane the whole time that you were looking through.
That's a lot of metaphors.
That's a lot of deep stuff there.
Yeah, you know.
However, very in line with visual novels, I think.
I think so.
Okay. All right. You know those picture this. You know those race car beds?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Okay.
I've had fun.
So, the opening of the game, your character opens eyes, and you see these eyelids open, and you're looking at your ceiling, which has a sun painted on it. But the sun is smiling, and then you lean forward, you do your first half of your sit-up for the day, and you see your bare feet there and your capri pants, and you're in, think of your race car bed again, but you're in a rainforest bed, and there's flowers, and there's like a tree. It's a self-sustaining bed is what it is. So you get out of the bed in your capri pants because someone knocks at your door, and you go barefoot because you don't need shoes. And you go barefoot and you answer, and it's a traveling window salesman. And that's the antagonist of the game. And your mission is to get rid of this traveling window salesman. He's trying to tell you why you need windows on your house. And because right now it's just air wafting in and out all willy-nilly, just all up in your shit because you don't have anything to block it. And you get him to go away. And you go about your day, and then a few minutes later you get another knock at your door. And it's a different window salesman. But this one's tougher. He has better sales tactics, and he's trying to convince you again why you need windows to block the wind and to keep nature out and your things in. And your job again is to get him to go away because you don't need window panes.
I'm you know what? William, you get some mandatory fun points for that because I think because
the hipster?
He was the
Because
hipster. He was wearing
hipster.
capri pants.
He was wearing capri
He's walking
pants,
around barefoot because he doesn't need
self-sustaining bed,
shoes.
one with nature,
Clearly
no
a
shoes.
hipster.
But the reason is because he really stuck to the things. It wasn't the windows that he was afraid of. It was the idea of window panes, just having them. So he did it. He did everything.
It pained him.
It pained me. It pains me to give it points, but
I don't think I
there's
know
the
what a
points.
hipster is.
I don't think anybody really does.
I don't think any of us really know what a hipster is.
They've got ironic mustaches. My mustache is not ironic though. Mine is.
Oh no, it's flawless.
It is also.
You have
it
a
is also
beautiful set
very
of mustaches.
utilitarian. This mustache is for use only. All right.
It's a crumberbund.
Don't chew on my table. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Will. I'll stop doing that. Okay. Here we go. Next pitch. Spinning the wheel. Okay. Oh, no. Let's see where this one's going. Okay, so this is going to be a roguelike. So, a game that changes every time you play it. So, a roguelike involving happy clowns.
Not sad or angry.
And weird inside children. The very pale ones who play a lot of video games and and don't really go out into the sun.
So us.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so you play as a happy clown. Okay, and somewhat the opposite of what we just did. Your job is to get into this house, and this house is filled with just inside creepy ass children who need some vitamin D and some happiness in their lives because they're sad because they're stuck inside. There's no sunlight because this house does have not only windows but blackout curtains as well, so there's no sunlight coming in. So your mission, and it changes every time because it's roguelike, is to get in that house and to brighten the children's day. And once you make it in, you've got an arsenal of different weapons and you can get different power-ups. Okay? And there's all these different children, and they come at you from like everywhere, and you just gotta beat them with happiness. And you start with just a simple, elegant balloon poodle. That's your thing. And some of the kids are glowing, and if they're glowing and you make them happy, i.e. you beat them with the poodle, you get a weapon upgrade. And then suddenly, instead of just a poodle, you can upgrade that to maybe
like a fun hat or something.
A fun hat. Or a balloon airplane. That's the game.
Okay. All right.
So in my game, you play as the child who never leaves his house, but his parents want to change that and want him to be social and enjoy life. So they take him to a carnival. And at the carnival, there are just a ridiculous amount of clowns. It's unnecessary, honestly. It's like 100 clowns at least at this tiny little carnival. And you play as the child who has gotten separated from your parents, and you're now stuck in the in one of the rides. It's like one of those little fun houses. And the clowns are looking for you because there's now a report out that this child's missing, and the parents are very concerned because they know how scared he is of everything. So the clowns are just there trying to find you and make you happier. But the child is deathly terrified of the clowns, and he has a fear meter. Although they're very happy and trying to make his day better, every time he sees a glimpse of one, his fear meter goes, and if it reaches maximum, he will go insane and you will pass out and the game starts over and you have to start from the very beginning and attempt to get through the place. But every time you pass out, the clowns multiply by 20 as well.
Oh my goodness, that's so many clowns.
Even harder.
Okay.
And
the goal is to exit the carnival, of course.
Okay.
I have some elements of both of those, apparently. Being that we do have all of the same kind of elements. So, you are an inside child, and your goal is to eventually become an outside child. And so you are trying to escape your house. And so it's really kind of a nightmare. Like it's like you're in a dream. And so your house doesn't make complete sense. And so every time you try to leave, it becomes different. And in the house, there are scary clowns everywhere. These are not happy clowns. Don't even talk about happy clowns right here. These are not happy clowns. And so they're trying to get you. It's kind of like a Dead by Daylight type thing with clowns that are chasing you throughout your house. And every time, like I said, every time you get caught by the clowns, it changes the house, the way the house is set up. And once you get outside, it's all bright and sunny, and you meet the happy clown who's there to hug you and save you.
Okay. I think this is going to be another one where I'm going to need a title for the games that you have created. Because I'm having such a hard time picking fun.
House kid's afraid to leave his house.
Okay, thank you, Christopher.
Smiles for Childs.
I'm really bad at titles. That's what I'm learning here. How about Clown Carnival? I'm going to go real direct.
Clown Carnival. Okay. You know what? I'm going to give this mandatory fun point to William or Wilhelm. There you go, William. Good job. You did it. And I think that is enough of the mandatory fun game pitches for that. So that means, Christopher, you have 1 point, yes? Allison, you also have 1 point. But William, you have 2 mandatory fun points. Woo! You're the winner. Here's all of the music for this. Hooray!
Congratulations.
You did such a good job. Unfortunately, I do think Allison is actually the only winner, since technically you two were disqualified from missing the last mandatory one. But William, you can celebrate nonetheless. Congratulations.
I shall.
So I'm really the only loser here. Is what
Yes, basically, you are the big loser, Chris. Congratulations. Here's your dunce cap. I'm going to give that to you through the internet. And you just put that on your head. Oh, it's beautiful. It really fits your complexion.
It's a good look.
Okay, Phil, I think Daniel is still unconscious. But I think that's it for the Game Brew podcast for this week. Am I correct in saying so?
Yeah, that's it for us. So
I think so.
Yeah, I guess we should say goodnight, everybody, yeah?
Oh, ja. Gute Nacht, meine Freunde.
Good
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah.